Also, as an FYI to everyone, we are now publicly live on YouTube.
Cool. So the question from Clement is, did the first user conference meet your expectation? And Emily put in, when your microphone works, but I thought it was really great. It's very hard to do an event that is like remarkable and that people are like, this was really great and really awesome, because you have to nail so many things, all the way from location and signage to talks to schedule to keeping on schedule to all those things. And I think we nailed each and every one of them. I couldn't even name a thing that wasn't great. I'm not going to try, and don't volunteer anything, but I couldn't name anything. It was really amazing, and especially if it's our first go at something like that, that is just remarkable. It was really well done. I think we had over 300 paid people there. Please correct me, but I think that's a great start. And, we couldn't have done anything better. And that was when it coincided with our announcement of the Series E, and that kind of happened last minute that we made that decision. That was interesting on messaging. There was a lot of back and forth, but in the end, that all came together, and we absolutely nailed it on Tuesday. So really great, well done.
Cool, thanks, Sid. Emily, is your mic working again?
Yeah, I got my audio working again. Yeah, it was a big moment and it just failed me. But I think, Sid said it really well. I know that we hosted and planned this event, but I just want to say, I think it was the best conference I've ever gone to, just in terms of how unique it was, the quality all around. I think everyone felt really relaxed, and it was just so nice to see everybody engaging with us in different capacities. I saw so many people off in little corners, doing demos, and just it just felt like we really represented the brand well. And so I want to thank everybody who was involved and put in so much work to make this successful. And so, yeah, it was a very exciting day. I still have no voice, but yeah, we, in the end, I know Clement asked how it went. We were worried about getting registrations going in, and then in the end, we ended up with 471 and with over 400 people attending, which is actually a great rate considering we were heavily discounting passes. So that's amazing. Additionally, people attended around 13 talks each, which is such amazing engagement. Again, that people didn't leave in the afternoon. They stayed for this one day, almost some people were given free tickets. They stayed and they wanted to continue and pursue on this journey with us. And so we had lots of different opportunities to educate them on how we work and what we do. Yeah, we got a lot of social mentions. Just generally everything was just over the top on everything. And we're really, really excited about the results. You can see a little bit on the social impressions we were able to get. It's really amazing that we were able to get so many organic impressions versus promoted, and so just again all around amazing. Lauren put a nice sizzle reel of pictures just so you can see everything that went on during the day. And so there's Marin, he's famous now. And then so we're looking forward to as excited as we are about San Francisco, as excited as we are about how well Berkeley went, we still obviously have some learnings and a lot of work to do on London. And so, we're still heads down working on that. So if you have any questions about that, I am happy to answer them.
There's a couple of questions in the document.
Okay, yeah.
Hey, Emily, it's Leslie. I'll voice my question.
Yeah.
Sales asking, which we're very excited about this, but when is the Salesforce.com campaign going to be updated with those who actually attended?
Yeah, so I was talking to JJ last night. We thought the integration would automatically sync the Salesforce integration so it would show who's attended. I haven't gotten word back on JJ on that, but also we scanned everybody into tracks, so we're figuring out the best way to share that information so people can see what people were interested in. We don't think at this point it's best to put them into campaigns because that will be a lot of different campaigns, so it might end up being a spreadsheet. We're going to work on that this afternoon, but as far as I know, I don't know if JJ's on this call, but
JJ's entering.
Okay, JJ's very busy. Yeah, so I will have an answer on that later today. Okay, yeah, JJ's always on it. Thanks, JJ. Okay, so yeah, we will get those to, at least we have they just sent me the data report of everything, so I can get that to everybody this afternoon. What are the top learnings? Yeah, the top learning is that if you do an event in Brooklyn with a hotel that has a lot of their own branding guidelines, you can't have any signs where bathrooms are. So you need a lot of people to be answering questions about where the bathrooms are. No, I think the biggest things, at least for me, and I don't know if anybody else wants to speak to this, but this is really the first time we've worked in such a large project as a team, like so cross collaboratively. So there's like definitely a little like kinks to be worked out there, but it was amazing to see what we were able to accomplish when we did that. We have so much talent on this team, and I think it really showed that when we work together, we can accomplish so much more. And it was really, really nice to see. Does anybody else have anything they want to say on that, Todd, maybe? Or
Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to get from events like this before. To me, the thing we've got to work out as sort of a formula is the promotion plan ahead of time. We did it. We did a great one. There's a ton of stuff, but we were all on the edges of our seats, you know, watching the ticket sales. And now we have a graph. And what I've seen in events like this is the graph is very similar on each event, but you try to make make it bigger, make it higher. So now we won't be quite as on the edge of our seats because we'll know that they all, I think we sold like 40 some tickets on the last day or maybe 50. So that's just how these things go. But I'd like for us to kind of figure out what worked and what didn't and really hone our promotion plan for these things. That's probably the biggest one. And then obviously we're going to do a survey. So, getting information back on what worked and what didn't. I want to just point out one other thing is I've been to a lot of events like this, and the coordination of like the corner of Brooklyn that we owned and all these like venues was amazing. That was so cool because you would go, we had a coffee shop that was all ours. And then you walk around the street to, one of the tracks is in a movie theater and one of the tracks is in a nightclub. And like all that, I don't know how you guys orchestrated all that, but that part was unique and amazing from a feel perspective. I could see how it could be a multi-day event and you'd like get to know the neighborhood really well too at some point.
So Todd, to add on to that, it made it feel like we are like GitLabby as a company. Do you know what I mean? Because it was kind of edgy and different in each area you went to. I think it helped to bring out our personality as a company too. So I think that's key.
yeah, to me, like the format of it like mirrored how I think about GitLab, and that there's always like a surprise around every corner and everything just keeps like getting better and more exciting. You're like, oh, I didn't know they could do this. And you're like, I didn't know you could have something in a nightclub. I didn't know a CEO would hold office hours and I could just have 10 minutes of his time. So it just like new excitement around every bit, and that everything was like slightly different and unique. So that was fun. But yeah, to what Todd was saying, like now we have data. It's like we know how many impressions it takes to get a ticket sale, and we can go on that. And so now we have metrics going forward, which will be really, really nice.
Elsha has a comment or a question.
Yeah, I mean, it's a bit obvious really, but what do you think really made a difference in getting those ticket sales in the last couple of weeks? Because I could see that Brooklyn, I mean, I thought you had about 200 and it's amazing that you had over 400. Is there anything that we can do here to replicate to try and increase the numbers for London? Because we're about 3 weeks out and we've got about 120, I think.
So I think one of the number one things that inhibited ticket sales initially was our timeline. Everything was really, really condensed. And so just getting that awareness to get people to want to buy something that they don't know what the content is, it's never existed, is really difficult. I think now we're on an upswing where people kind of know what they're going to expect, which is definitely going to help our case. Also, London's had a slightly longer timeline. And so it's trending a little bit better than New York was. What really helped is that, and what I plan to do is to get on every individual team call and let people know, like, this isn't just a marketing event. This is everybody in the company's event. This is a representation of who we all are and how we want to put ourselves forward in the market. And so we need help from everybody going forward to promote. Everybody, if everybody in the company invited one person, we'd sell on tickets tomorrow. And so we just, again, the ownership, collective ownership over this is this is all of us, was really important. I think that's what really did the push, is that we got more and more people engaged and involved and inviting their own network. And it made a big difference. We've also, for London, we're trying to activate sales more and allow sales to promote people more. So if they have a specific revenue tied to the ticket sales they're bringing in, then they're allowed to come. And I think that definitely, because they obviously have amazing networks, so that will definitely help with ticket sales for London. And then moving forward on thinking about San Francisco, I think generally just the awareness of this event is getting out there.
You just muted yourself, Emily. Emily, you muted yourself.
Unless we've lost her.
Yeah. She went on
Well,
mute.
while she's gone, can I also ask, is it just for users? Is it users and prospects? What kind of people were there in Brooklyn?
It was users who are prospects and users who are customers. It was both. It was, and you want that mix. You want the mix because that's what kind of gets everybody excited.
Okay, so core and paying users.
Yeah.
We did have a bunch of partners because of where it was located from a New York standpoint. You know, we had a very large representation from Google. We had a few from AWS. And then obviously all the partners pretty much had an open ticket to send as many people as they wanted to those events too. And I think that actually contributed to the fun of everybody who was there. So.
Okay, that sounds good. We'll do our best.
So Kyla asked a question. Sorry, Emily, I'm not sure if you can get back on or not, but Kyla asked a question about, are we planning to do more? Yeah, so in fiscal year 20, we budgeted for 3 of them. And so that's Brooklyn, London, and San Francisco. So, you know, we'll get some more data and then we'll see what we want to do next year. And I think it's a platform as well. Like I was talking to one of our federal salespeople where we could do kind of small spinoffs of Commit at, you know, for a small set of customers, but where we can get a lot of people, like a big integrator in the federal space or something. We could do sort of Commit lights. So I think there's a lot of ways we could think about spinning off the event into smaller events that could be, you know, more specific to verticals or customers or cities or things like that.
That sounds great. Thanks.
Yeah. Mona was asking about CEO office hours. Sid, what was that like? It was, I think you had an hour and a half.
Yeah, I think it was fun, and utilization was good. I think we were talking about 80% of the time. I think it was super helpful to have the shadows there. They could follow up. So thanks, JD and Eric. And I think it was a good experience for the people. So maybe next time we can do electronic sign up or something like that, so that people don't have to kind of wait for their time and they know exactly when they can go in. But this came together at the last minute, and it was considering that it was really well organized, and I think people got value out of it.
So there's a question about video coverage. Everything was videoed, so every session was videoed, and many are already up on GitLab's YouTube. So then there'll be more coming. If you look there today, Sam's going there now, you can see there's at least 4 or 5 commit sessions already live on GitLab YouTube, which is pretty cool. And took a lot of work. Erica really nailed the video plan. And so we have a ton of great footage, as well as all the sessions were recorded and are being posted.
Hey, Todd, I have a question on that real quick. Were there any customers that were not allowed to be videoed, and can we still watch them?
I don't know the answer to that. I think I don't think that would be the case of their session, but Erica would. I don't know the answer to that question. We can follow up on that.
I believe everybody was allowed to be videotaped.
I just want to add to the question here, just to expand a little bit. We did have all of the talks recorded. There also was some video taken and some pictures taken around the neighborhood itself to actually see the experience that you would have had if you were present. So I'm expecting at some point that we'll have a video put together by our editing crew to show off this.
We are hoping to get a sizzle reel ready so we can help promote the CFP for San Francisco to come.
Yes, and I think that's a good possibility. We're talking about the homepage today because we also, the cloud native CI is coming out today. And so we're trying to decide what we're going to do about that as well. So
yeah, cool. Too many good things. That's also the problem.
So in the second half of the, if there's no more questions for Emily around commit, I also posted for the second half a brand awareness update. I want to just bring everybody in the loop on kind of the progress we're making and what that looks like, sort of a peek into the life of, you know, a brand awareness, building a brand awareness campaign. And I see Clement put a question in already around, so one of the things I posited is, and also in a Slack channel this morning, was that I think that brand awareness will help sort of push us out of, you know, where I think we're seen today, at least by people who don't know the space that well, as sort of, you know, behind GitHub or behind, you know, other major players in this space. I think this will be the thing that I think breaks us through and helps position us in the mind as a leader here. And he asked, how long do you think that would take? And we're already making lots of progress in that in other ways too, but I think it's kind of 3 to 6 months of people seeing our ads in market. And we'll start to see kind of that change in people's heads is my guess. And we're going to be doing, in the document, you'll see that we're going to be doing surveys with our IT decision maker audiences before and after, so that we'll be able to actually measure that and come back into this team and say, and here's the change that we're seeing. So that's built into the program. So I'm sure people are clicking through slides right now. Any other questions? There's lots of interesting links in there as well that you could spend some time with. And I'm happy to take questions offline in this document or over Slack as well. Looks like a couple more coming in, so we'll just keep broadcasting here. Hey, Dan, you want to just voice that question?
Sure thing. Hi, everyone, and thanks for doing this. I'm wondering about brand voice in terms of how we communicate as an organization. I mean, I know it's a consideration just for people's reference, like how we speak in the first or third person or stuff like that, and how the brand communicates in that way. I'm just curious if that's something you've started working through or not.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's part and parcel to the creative evolution that we're going through and the copywriting. And one thing that was really great is that the team who's working on this spent all day with us and our users, because they were at GitLab Commit for the whole thing. So, and they talked to a lot of users and a lot of customers. So I think they're starting to get kind of how we talk. A lot of the creative they showed, which I linked to the creative presentation, some of the language doesn't sound like us. It's not as specific or as technical as our audience and as we are. And so we're going to be tweaking some of that. So I think they're getting there. But we also have to, especially in awareness advertising, we have to, speak in a language that our prospects in the target market are speaking in. So we have to be aware of that as well. So I think they got a lot of that by being in the room with us. And the creative that I sent you, that I linked to, they created that before they spent a day with us at GitLab Commit. So I think we'll see continued evolution and improvement from there. We don't have a specific brand voice. We haven't written down a specific brand voice. I think there's actually something in the handbook about what our brand voice is, and I wouldn't posit that we need to change that much. But we're always going to be straightforward, transparent, hopefully a little edgier and fun. So I'd love to see our brand voice sort of, kind of like Emily said, having kind of fun surprises around the corner and those types of things. Francis, slide 9, in part about our value drivers refers to reducing costs, which is part of increasing operational efficiency, but different. Is that intentional? Well, we're not going to use the language of force management in headlines. So there's headline copy that's grabbing attention, and then there's, demand gen copy. And if you look at our demand gen campaigns, they're much more detailed, much more closely aligned to the words in force management. And then there's what salespeople deliver when they're sitting in front of a customer. And increasing operational efficiencies isn't that exciting. So you're not going to see that in a headline. You're going to see pieces of that, like lowering costs or reducing complexity, or we may use simplicity instead. So I would say we're going to have a lot more flexibility in our language around awareness headlines than you might in as you go further down the funnel. And if there are other things that we find work for awareness, we'll feed that information back into the command of the message when we iterate on that messaging as well. Because there may be something that we discover that's a really strong message that unlocks another value driver or another way to think about a value driver. What's cool is the force management timing was so good because we were renovating our demand gen campaigns, which also are live. So hopefully if you're on the internet at all, you're seeing some GitLab ads that allowed us to sort of be with awareness, demand gen, and sales, SDR, and then sales. It allowed us to be aligned from the very beginning around kind of what we're promoting all the way from the top down to the bottom. So couldn't have been better timing on the force management stuff. So thanks McBee and David Hong for leading that charge, and David Summers.
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Todd. My main concern is just it's always a red flag for me when I see the word cost, because that kind of invites a customer. If we're using the word cost, it invites the customer to lead with a pricing conversation, which is never what we want to lead with, right? So that's I always have no, don't talk about cost reduction, just because it's it kind of it turns value on its head a little too easily.
Yep, I understand that. So yeah, thank you for that feedback. That's good. We'll give that feedback to the team.
So Todd, I'm unable to comment on the doc because it says heavy traffic, but I had a question regarding what do you think is the best one-liner to answer what is GitLab? So I think that's a question I always get asked. And if you ask somebody in product management, is one answer, an engineer may have a different answer, salesperson has a different answer. So I think kind of brand awareness is unifying that message. And what do you think that it's the best way to describe it?
Oh, well, I mean, it's in the handbook, which we changed recently, that GitLab is a complete DevOps platform delivered as a single application. And we had talked for a long time, we didn't use the word platform, and I understand why. But I think it's important. The platform says we do a lot of the DevOps, we do the entire DevOps tool chain, and how we do it, which is differentiation, is as a single application. So the how is delivered as a single application. The what is a complete DevOps platform. So that's what we made that change probably 60 days ago, something like that. in our messaging in the handbook. And you're also going to see that. You see that reflected on the website, maybe not everywhere, but in parts. And we've got to get aligned on that. You may not see that whole thing on an ad, on an awareness ad. So we've got to decide exactly that wording. We have and you'll see there's lorem ipsum in those ads. There's, the creative team taking a shot at describing things. We're gonna rationalize all of that before you see final ads. But those are the words.
Great, thanks.
Let's see. Any brand campaigns for C-level folks to help with transformation?
Thinking more like digital transformation, Todd, or like business transformation. Previous company had some great just slides on like dinosaurs, the extinct bones. It's like, it's pretty cool and edgy, but I didn't know if there's anything like that in mind for the future.
So a lot of people talk about digital transformation. That's super buzzy right now. I would be open to testing that in the lab, sort of, digital transformation happens in the lab, but I think that it makes us sound a little bit like everybody else right now. And it's not as specific as what we really do. And so like Pivotal, they talk about digital transformation because they sell to the C-suite and they sell a lot of consulting and they sell some technology, and they really lean into, we're going to change how you develop software in your organization. And they do put a lot of services behind it. So they sell more of a digital transformation service, and that's not what we do. So, so I'm staying away from that right now a bit. Not that we shouldn't test that, because I think we should, but that's how I feel about it at this point.
Yeah, I think digital transformation is kind of widely used. I think maybe even create something new and kind of hip. It's, I don't know, about business transformation, digital application. I don't know, but I was just thinking if there's any type of thought process going into something like that. But it sounds like there is, and that's great.
No, I appreciate the question, and we do think hard about at what altitude do we want to message to hit our target audience. I think it's important to note that there is, in one of those documents, it sort of talks about the target audience, but our ITDMs are, certainly if there's DevOps in the title and they're a director or VP, but also, chief architect, a VP of development, that's, director of development, and sort of in that realm. Not specifically a CIO. So we're not specifically going after C-suite. Because most of our customers aren't CIO. Most of our people who write the check and make the decision aren't CIOs. They're, a level under that in IT. And so we're really trying to get more of those. But hopefully our messaging, makes some awareness for CIOs so that they sign the check when it comes across, they approve the PO.
Thanks, Todd.
Okay. If there's one more question, I'll take it, but we're about at time here.
We're 3 minutes over. Thanks, Todd.
Oh, sorry. All right. Thanks. Bye.